happy to have everyone here. My name is Joanna, and I am the founder of JJ Papery & Co. It is a modern calligraphy, engraving, and stationery business. And for today's workshop, I'm super excited to teach you all the basics of modern calligraphy, how you can get started at home, and hopefully find a new hobby that you really love. Um, the main thing that you'll need for class today will be a paper and either a marker, a pencil, or a pen. Ideally, if you have a brush marker, that would be awesome, just because of the flexibility in the brush pen. But if you don't, that's okay. I'll cover faux calligraphy just so that you can also achieve the calligraphy look without the supplies. So I saw a few ladies get up, but I can get started. So again, I'm going to focus my camera over here just so you guys can see a little bit better. And yeah, thank you for joining me today. I'm really excited to teach you guys everything. If you have any questions, feel free to just drop them in the chat and I will answer them as fast as I can. So for those that are new to calligraphy, there are 8 basic strokes. So I'll be using a brush marker, and after class, Girls Night Live can share my resources page for you to take a look, and feel free to browse and just see what supplies may be best for you. But I always prefer the brush markers in getting started with calligraphy. So if you do have a brush marker with you, the first step of the basic strokes is the downstroke. So what you're doing is you're applying pressure as you go down. So you're going to go up, apply pressure, up, apply pressure. So you're just going to continue doing this a few times across your paper. Okay. The next basic stroke is the upstroke, and you're going to slowly go up your paper. So you are not applying pressure. You're going from one side and up. So your line should be relatively on the leaner side, not as thick. And that's the main thing to keep in mind when you are writing your letters. Any letter that you are writing in the downstroke form will be a thicker line, and in the upstroke will be thinner. So I will write a note here that this is the downstroke and this is the upstroke. Okay. And then the next one we have is the undercurve. And this one is going to go from the top, apply pressure, lift up. And as you lift up, you're going to thin out your brush. And by doing that, you're just going to lightly lift up your hand a tiny bit to thin out that line, if that helps you. So it looks like a U. If that gives you like a visual reference, you just want to slowly turn around and lighten up your pressure. And right now I'm using the Tombow Dual brush pen. These are definitely my favorite pens, and they are really easy to get used to. So I definitely recommend checking that out. Okay, our next one is the overcurve. So we are going to go from one side and go up. So it's going to be a thin stroke turn around, apply pressure. And if your lines are, for any reason, like wobbly or not straight, don't worry about that, just because that will come with time and practice. Yes, I can do that, Linda. I think Girls Night Live can drop in the link after. And right now I'm using regular printing paper. It's not very thick, but the resources page does include printing paper that's a little bit heavier. And it writes much smoother. So I would recommend, if you would like to have a more like cleaner type of calligraphy writing experience, you can try that paper out. But again, if you just have regular paper, which I'm using right now, totally fine. Our next one is the compound curve. And we're going to start from the bottom. We're going to go slowly up, apply pressure, and lightly back up again. So up, apply pressure, lightly back up. Okay. Next is our oval, and the oval is part of a lot of base letters. I learned calligraphy. I did a few workshops. Well, I did one workshop in the city, and that in New York City, and then I just really practiced. I would definitely recommend just practicing. And the reason why I wanted to learn calligraphy was because I needed a hobby after my corporate job, but also I was getting married and I wanted to create my own wedding signage and envelope address my invitations. So that was really what led me to really practice consistently and just develop my skills much faster. Okay, so our next one is the oval. And for the oval, if you were to imagine a circle, for example, my circle isn't perfect, but you want to start it from the right side. So you're going to go from your imaginary right side and go up, apply pressure, and connect again. So we'll go up, apply pressure, and connect. And if anyone has taken a class before, or just like enjoys lettering themselves, let me know. I love always hearing how everyone how they also learned calligraphy or why they enjoy it. So again, this is the oval. And we have two more main strokes, and it is the ascender and descender. So we have ascender, which is up, around, and apply pressure. And this is for letters that have the top loop. So B, D, H. This is what you do this for. Okay. And our next one is the descender loop. And so for this one, you are just applying pressure on your pen slowly lifting towards the left and connecting. And again, downstroke, slowly lift up, downstroke, and slowly lift up. So this is for letters like G, J, Y, any letters that have that downstroke loop in there. Yes, Lou, totally agree with you. Just even practicing for like 10 minutes a day with the basic strokes will be really helpful as you write your letters and learn new techniques. But I agree that it definitely takes time, but you definitely, I'm sure you are doing great. Okay, so again, these are the basic strokes in calligraphy. There are 8 of them. The main takeaway I would love for you to just keep in mind is when you are doing a downstroke, that is a thicker line. And then when you are doing an upstroke, it's a thinner line. So how do you know when a line is thick or thin? If you were to write, let's start with H, for example. So you have your H right here, right? So when you are going up, this is going to continue to be a thin stroke. And as you go down, you would apply pressure to your brush and make it a thicker stroke. So what it looks like with the marker is thin going up. And as I apply pressure, I'm going to apply pressure as I go down. And same with here. So from the bottom of my ascender loop, I'm going to go up, apply pressure, and slightly back up. So however your hand is moving when you write the letters, and go slowly to just really see or get a feel of how your hand is moving, is how you would, where you would apply the pressure. And another way to do this, if you don't have a brush marker with you today, or even if you want to practice and not take out your supplies or anything like that, let me see. Allison from Facebook, can you please just explain how to show the main strokes one more time quickly? Is the thick part always the downstroke? Yes, Allison, the thick part is always the downstroke. I can show it again. I can just do one of each, if that is helpful for you. So again, the downstroke, I am just applying pressure to my marker. The upstroke, I am not applying pressure, but I am moving upward on my paper and making it really light. For the undercurve, I'll go on this side. For the undercurve, I am applying pressure, moving down and lifting up. Overcurve, since I'm moving upward, I'm moving my hand up, and then as I go down is where I apply that pressure. Compound curve, up, apply pressure, slightly back up, oval, and then descender. So to Allison, yes, just so you know, downstroke downstroke thick, upstroke thin. And if you don't have a marker with you, or if you want to practice at home and just not take out your tools, you can also do faux calligraphy, which basically means you are achieving the look of calligraphy without the actual supplies. So again, I'll use H as an example. So we have H here. I wrote it out in script. So what you want to do, as I mentioned, the downstroke is a thicker line. So you are going to make a little outline of where that thick line would be. And then I'm using a pencil, but if you have a marker or a pen, you can always use that. And you would just fill it in right here. And then around this point as well, you can fill that in because that's also where the other downstroke is. And you can do that for all your letters. You just want to make sure that you're writing it out in script for it to look like calligraphy. Yes, so to make them the same height, I'm not using guidelines right now, but I can share with Girls Night Live a guideline template. And that basically just helps you with your cap height for your letters as you get comfortable. So I'm happy to share that afterwards. And Tara, yes, this is a great little hack. You can do this with like chalk lettering. So if you have like a little event coming up, you can do faux calligraphy with chalk and achieve that calligraphy look. You actually would have to do faux calligraphy since chalk marker and chalk pens aren't flexible. But yes. Any soft tip marker works as long as it's flexible. There are a few markers like the Tombow Dual Tip. My recommendation for a beginner would be to try these. It comes in an Amazon. It comes from really any art store like Blick, Amazon. I don't think Target actually carries these. But I do have a resource page that you can check out. But it's these two, and it comes in sets of 2s. And I have always recommended these. I use them still, and I love them. Another popular marker is the Tombow Dual Tip. These pens are really great. The thing with, if you are a beginner, is that it is a little tricky to use them just because the brush is really thick. So when you do that thin stroke, it may not come as thin, and it kind of just can be a little like frustrating. So I would recommend just starting out with these two and then like trying this one out, especially if you are doing like a bigger type of piece, just because this brush pen it will cover more space versus these pens. Yeah. Yeah, these are my favorite brush pens. They are the Tombow Fudono Suke. They are both hard tip and soft tip. So it comes in sets of 2s. Yeah, feel free to just like try out other ones. I always learned with those, so I just kind of stuck with them. But there are definitely tons of really great brands out there. I just have always stuck with Tombow. But again, this was basic strokes, and guidelines will help you with the cap height. So I can send that out to Girls Night Live and they can share it with you. So the way that you would use that is, actually it will include like a little instructions there too for you to have. It's Tombow Fudono Suke. I don't know if you can see that. You are welcome. Oh, I love these questions. Okay, so that covers the basic strokes. I lightly showed you faux calligraphy. I do want to show the alphabet as much as I can, just because we do have an hour, and I'll show you how to connect letters just so that you know how to make some words when you are at home afterwards. Okay, so I'm going to use a clean sheet, and I can also send over like a one-sheeter of the letters, and then at least you guys can practice tracing them or getting comfortable with them, if that may be helpful too for just more fun practice at home. So the first letter is A. So we're gonna go, it's our oval and our undercurve. So again, oval, undercurve. So if you break this apart, you have your oval and your undercurve. If you put them together, you have BA. Becky, I'm so glad. All right, so that is A. And we're gonna go into B. So I'll just show you B right now. So when you break this apart, you have your ascender loop, right? And from the bottom of this ascender loop, you're gonna go slightly out, apply pressure, and through. So again, that one is ascender, slightly out, apply pressure, and through. And not every letter like breaks out perfectly like the A does. B is just the ascender and a mix of like the O in there. So if you see letters, some letters you'll probably notice it more than others. Just want to call that out. So that was B. And C is, I'm sure when you get this pen or a brush marker, they will start to look good. Also with practice, don't worry. So C is slightly up, apply pressure. So C looks pretty much like a regular C. You're just applying that pressure when you go into that downstroke and back up. And next we have D. So we have oval and our ascender. So this one is a combination. So to break it down, we have oval and our ascender loop. You bring it together. You're gonna have your oval, and when your oval connects, you can slightly go towards the right and loop around, apply pressure, and back up. Okay. Gonna go on to E, and E is slightly out, around, apply pressure, and up. And if you only have a mark, like a pen or pencil, or like any tool that's not flexible, like the brush pens, you can still do like the outline of the downstrokes and just fill it in, just to get comfortable with placement of the downstrokes. But to Lily Lilac, her point, it definitely is easier with a brush pen. Alrighty, so we have E. And we'll move on to F. So F is upstroke, around, apply pressure, slightly back up, and a little S curve moving up. I'm using my hard tip one right now. So that is F. So again, you're just going up, apply pressure as you go down, lift back up, and a little S curve. And if you need a better idea of what an S curve is, it's really just, it looks like an S, but it's not super like actually an S, it's just kind of the movement of an S. And I just do that over here. And we'll move on to G. And G is oval with our descender loop. So you have oval and descender. So when you connect it, you have your oval. So you want to complete your oval first, and then apply pressure as you go down, lift up and through. I have not used a fountain pen, but I do have a pointed pen, which is actually how I initially learned. I didn't really move into brush until like maybe sometime last year. But I do have this as one of my nibs. Okay. We're going to move on to H. So H, we did that little example earlier, but it's a descender, ascender going down. And then from the bottom of your ascender, you're going to go up, apply pressure, and slightly back up. Okay. We have I, which is a favorite because it's very easy. We're going to go upstroke, apply pressure, and just a little dot. Again, upstroke, apply pressure, little dot, upstroke, apply pressure, and little dot. Yeah, I've never used a fountain pen. I would be curious to see how that writes. Alrighty, so we covered A through I right now. So we have A. Just quickly going through that. And we'll move on to J. So J is a upstroke and into our descender loop and through. So again, it's upstroke, descender loop, and through with a dot for the lowercase. And just keep in mind that this doesn't need to be as like wide. If you want to make it a little bit like leaner like that, you can definitely do that. Modern calligraphy in general is pretty fluid. There isn't like a hard, like a definite way to do each letter. Like you can always kind of change it up in your own style. There are some lettering styles like copperplate or Spencerian that are more formal, but modern is more flexible, so you can kind of play with the styles of the words a lot more. Okay, so we have J, and we're going to move on to K. So K is ascender down, and for the top, we're going to go slightly down and apply pressure again. So I kept this pretty, I keep this one pretty not as thick as the bottom one, just for the sake of kind of how it looks. But if you want to try this one out being also a downstroke, so it's like a little thicker, you can definitely do that. This pen has lasted me, I've had this pen actually for a very long time. I would probably say at least like 3 months, 3 to 6 months. It kind of just depends how heavy your pressure is and how often you're using it. So I would say it definitely lasts you a while. I would say maybe probably at least like 3 months. Okay, so we have JK. We're gonna move on to L. So L is upstroke, around, apply pressure, and lightly back up. Upstroke, around, apply pressure, and back up. Alrighty. People love L because L is pretty fun to write with those up, that little one stroke. All right, let's go on to M. So M has a little entry stroke. You can use this if you like. So it's a entry, which is really just a thin little line moving upward. Apply pressure for that downstroke, and we're gonna go up, apply pressure again, up, and apply pressure, moving down and going slightly back up. So again, entry, downstroke. From that bottom of that downstroke, you're going up, you're gonna go back down. If you wanna lift up your pen, you're gonna go up again and back down. So the N is also similar. It's upstroke, down, and we're gonna go up, apply pressure, and slightly back up. Alrighty, and so we have O next. So the main thing with O, which I'll show you with the pencil, is that with the oval, we went here. We started on the right side. For the O, you start over here on the left and a little bit towards the bottom. So you're gonna go right into your downstroke, lift up, around, some slight pressure as you go down here and through. So O might feel a little weird just because we typically probably write our O's from the center. But it just takes a little time to get used to. Okay, so we have O there, and we're gonna move on to P. So P also has a little entry stroke, apply pressure into our descender loop, move up, and then you can lift up your pen if that's helpful. So you can go from the side, like right across from that where you lifted, so it looks like you're connecting, up, apply pressure, and through. So entry, descender, lift up, apply pressure, and through. And another option for P, if you don't want to do these downstrokes, is you can also just go entry, downstroke. From this point, you can go out, around, and through. So I did not do this descender loop over here. I just went right into my downstroke and just finished it off that way. Okay, and we have Q. So Q is also our oval. And you're gonna apply pressure as you go down, lift up, moving towards the right, and your little S curve. So again, it's oval, apply pressure, moving down, lift up, S curve. Okay, so that is J through Q. So I will just slowly show that. And I'll move on to R. So R, I believe many of us probably are familiar with this one since it's in script, or it looks close to script. So you're gonna go upstroke, around, apply pressure, and back down again. So again, it's upstroke, around, towards the left, kind of like a little loop. If you lift up your pen, you're just gonna, as you lift up, you're gonna curve it, I guess more actually slightly more right. And then you can just press down and back up. And if you want to do another way, which I can quickly show you, you can do a downstroke and then an S curve as well. So that's why I like to mention that there are a few ways to do letters, and modern calligraphy is pretty flexible. So if you prefer this way, you can stick with this one, or you can stick with this one. All right, we're gonna go on to S. So S is upstroke, downstroke, where you're gonna slightly curve it like a C and back down. So you're gonna go up, apply pressure as you go around, kind of towards the left, go around and back down. So upstroke, apply pressure, slightly up and back down. Okay, and we're gonna go on to T. So T is upstroke, and we're going to apply pressure and our S curve for the crossbar. So again, it's upstroke, apply pressure, and your S curve. And if you would like, you can also just do a straight little line across instead of more of this like wispy looking S curve. How's everyone doing so far? Okay. Thank you, Linda. Definitely, I'm sure with the guidelines it'll be helpful. And I'm definitely just gonna re-encourage the practicing, because that'll definitely get you comfortable and just like really getting better. My initial work wasn't that great. So it's always cool. I would definitely date your work today, and just as you practice, just see the change and progress from today to like a month from now, and even 3 months from now. It's always really encouraging. So I would say, I would say maybe like 6 months to a year, just because once I like did the wedding stuff, I kind of paused for a tiny bit and then got back into it again. I didn't really pause. I just like wasn't consistently always practicing, but I feel like I got to a point last year, I guess, when I felt like my lettering was at a good place. But it'll always change over time. Like the more you practice, like my lettering got better as I really practiced. But I would just say like consistent practice and like maybe give yourself like 6 months of it, then you will definitely see growth and progress. But even from like a year from that point where you are happy with your lettering, it'll still change and it will be better. So alrighty, so U is entry, downstroke, lift up. So it's our undercurve with another undercurve. And many of the letters are also pretty similar. Like as we get to our final letters over here, they're pretty similar to how they look in uppercase. So right now we're just covering lowercase, as you can tell. And some letters for the uppercase, they're essentially the same. They just look bigger. So we have U, and we'll go into V. So V is entry, downstroke. You can slightly curve it out. I would probably say you should try this one instead if you're going to connect letters. So this one was entry, downstroke. We're lifting up, but we're going to curve towards the left and out. And then we have W. So entry, downstroke, lift up, downstroke again. So you can curve it outward if you'd like towards the right. Or you can do the similar way as I did for this one, for this V, and curve it in towards the left and slightly back out. Alrighty, and X. So instead of writing our X like this, like you do in print, you're going to go from the left side. So it's an S curve going up, slightly down, slightly curving it a little bit here, and an S curve slightly going up. Okay. And we have our last letter, which is Y. So we have entry, downstroke, lift up, apply pressure around, and slightly back up. So again, entry, downstroke, lift up, downstroke again, and slightly back up as you go through. Awesome. Alrighty. Last one, Z, sorry. And we have Z, and we're gonna go slightly up, apply pressure, and slightly out. Apply pressure going down, lift up your pen and through. So if you were to like imagine a 3, for example, if that helps you visually, then we're going to do the top part first. So we're going to go up, apply pressure, and then for the bottom, we're going to go up, slightly out, apply pressure moving down, up, and through. Alrighty, so we just covered R through Z. I'm going to go into connecting letters, but does anyone have any questions that I can help? I know everyone was asking before, and I'm sure you guys are probably writing right now, but I did want to just take a minute to see if everyone was doing good. Alrighty. So I'll move on to connecting letters, and I'll show this with the marker and also with the pencil and how you can do it with Faux Calligraphy, just so that you can see how to do it that way too. I would say this pen, the fountain pen, isn't flexible. As far as I know, I think it just writes more closely like a pen, but maybe has like a thicker writing initially. I don't think it's flexible. So you would still have to do like a little outline to get that thick stroke, I guess. But I would recommend this pen. I mean, you can definitely try it. But from what I have seen and kind of just know is that it's not flexible. So it may not be the best pen to start with. That was to Johana. We have the same name. Mine is just with one N. Alrighty, so to connect letters, I will show you how to do that now that we've covered the lowercase letters. Again, I'll show you with the brush marker and also with the pencil. So what you want to do with your brush marker when you are writing is, and you're connecting letters, is you want to always make sure that there is an extension for your letters. So by that, I mean, I'll start with love. So we're going to go into our L and we're going to apply pressure and we're going to slightly move this part up because you want to have a way for your O to connect. So we extend it a little bit further up than we typically did when we were practicing. And we have our extension here. And so I'm just going to go right into my downstroke for the O and slightly go up. And because it's a V, I want to make sure that it's a little bit higher so that my V can connect and go right into my downstroke. And then I'm going to go up and I'm going to do the V that goes like this so that my E can connect. So we have it like that. And then the E is going to connect slightly off of it. So we're going to go right into our E. Like that. So you always just want to allow a way for your next letter to connect, really. So for example, it's like right here, I extended this a bit, I extended it over here, and I extended it over here. So if you only have a pencil, the way you could also do this is you're gonna go, you have your script, you're gonna write out the word in script. And however you write it is fine. So that's my handwriting in script. So again, a little refresher, if you are doing, you want the downstrokes to be more defined. So this is an upstroke because my hand is moving up, and then for the downstroke, it's gonna be at this point. And I'm just gonna outline it first. And then over here, it'll be around this point, also around this point. I'm still going up, and this is where I'm going down. Also going up here, slightly going down over here. And around this point is where I'm still going down. You only really want to have this go where the downstroke initially would go. So any time where your hand is starting to move up, you would just make that downstroke end a little bit before that. So we have our outline, and again, you're just gonna go in and fill it. And this works with pen, pencil, marker, crayon, chalk marker, chalk pen, anything that's not flexible that you want to write with or on. And I'll do one more example for connecting with calligraphy, with the brush marker, sorry. So I'll do happy. So we have our H. I'm just gonna write my H out. I'm gonna extend this further up because my A is going to kind of go right into it. And by that, I mean my oval is gonna be, it's gonna start slightly, not like slightly away from it, because then when I go around, my downstroke is slightly gonna connect into it. Apply pressure. Again, I'm going up for my P. And I'm extending this slightly upward for my Y. And you have happy. So I know I've already mentioned this, but you just want to make sure that you do have a way for your next letters to connect somehow. And this will just, you can always write this out with a pencil and go over it with your brush marker. There isn't really like a right or wrong way. It's really just how you feel comfortable before you start, you know, kind of just knowing it off the bat. So I can technically go over this with my marker if I wanted to, but feel free to sketch it out with a pencil first and then use a brush marker to go over it. But that really covers everything to really get you started. We went over the basic strokes, faux calligraphy, the lowercase alphabet, and connecting letters. Does anyone have any questions? How do you connect X with the next letter? Great question. You would connect it. I'm trying to think of a word. So let's say we have, so you would actually connect it from this bottom point here. I don't know what I'm writing. I'm gonna write, I don't know. Let's say xenia. I have no idea what this word is. So you would just connect it going down and slightly up. Oh, duh, Xmas. So we have this. And you can either go, if Xmas, if it's gonna be Christmas and it's the first letter, I don't want to confuse anyone, but let's say this is lowercase, right? So you're gonna go slightly up and then you can go right into your M like that. Pretend that's all in my brush marker. So you would just extend the bottom curve a little bit more. If it were the first letter and it was like an uppercase, technically you don't have to, but you can. You don't need to really connect your uppercase letters with the rest of your word. It just really depends on your style and like what you like. But to answer your question, you would just extend this a little bit more as you go up and connect the next letter.
You're welcome. Yeah, no, I hope everyone really enjoyed this intro to modern calligraphy. I'm definitely happy to send over a guideline and a one-sheeter of the alphabet for you to practice. And definitely feel free to check out my resources page. Email me if you have any questions. I'm always happy to answer any questions. I love helping out just because I was also in your shoes at one point too. And yeah, feel free to keep asking me any questions you have, but I really enjoyed teaching everyone. This was really fun.
Bye.
Thanks, Anna.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you.
That was so fun.